Hi, I'm Denise Paris, co-founder of HIPP About Health. And a lot of people ask us, what does HIPP About Health mean? Now, HIPP means that you're hopeful, that you're informed, that you're prayerful, and you're proactive about your health. Are you hip about your health?
I'm Joy, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi everyone, I'm Marissa Prophet, and I'm hip about my health.
I am Gail, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Melissa and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, my name is Tony Stewart and I'm hip about my health.
I'm Stacy and I'm hip about my health.
I'm Khadija and I'm hip about my health.
I am Sandra and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Chandel Gums and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Alison Chester and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Marcia Rose, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Dwayne Paris, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Desiree Edgel, and I'm hip about my health.
I am Natasha, and I am hip about my health.
I am Charlene Prince, and I am hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Gunrad, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Carly, and I'm hip about my health.
The next speaker that we have is Terry Buter, and she is a nutritional expert and registered dietitian. A number of us actually, as part of the HIPP team, we got qualified with the Dr. Rath Health Alliance as cellular medicine therapists, and we met Terry when we were in the Netherlands doing our trainings. We were able to spend a few days with her. We were actually amazed at the depth of knowledge and experience that she has. So I know you're going to enjoy this particular session with Terry. It's going to be amazing. You're going to be awed, and I'm hoping inspired and motivated to take some of the stuff that she has on board and run with it. And we're going to make sure that the information is always available as part of HIPP. Most of our information is influenced by Terry and the Dr. Rath Health Foundation. So this is going to be a continuous thing. So you're not just going to hear what she says and then hear something else. So I do hope you enjoy. I know you will enjoy, Terry.
So thank you, Denise, for your nice introduction. I also remember the days we spent in Heerlen in the Netherlands about the discoveries of Dr. Rath and the organization. And it was nice to meet you. And we also met, I don't know what year it was, 2 years ago in London.
Yes, so, this is our second time with us. So we're excited.
So my name is Terry, and I'm a dietitian and a nutritionist from the Netherlands. And a warm hello from the Netherlands to all that you're there. Thank you, Denise, for inviting me to be part of the event. First, tell a bit about myself. So in my practice, in my private practice, I see a lot of patients, people of all ages, all kinds of health situations. And very often they come to me with vague symptoms that have existed for many years. After I asked them about the health situation, then many diseases, many vague symptoms come. They tell about it, and over the years they accumulated into a disease that can eventually be diagnosed. Then our health system, in fact, is a sickness care. Health care is the sickness care with little attention to prevention. And that's what I like to do. Then if you can prevent people getting sick, getting ill, then you win a lot. That's the part of my work I do for the Dr. Rath organization. The focus is on prevention and explanation on the onset of disease. then too often I realize that patients know nothing or little about their own illness, and even less about what they can do themselves to improve their health situation. So the dependence of our people on medical and pharmaceutical care will have to change. It have to be transformed into self-management in order to reduce the financial burden on our people and the financial pressure on the governments of our countries. I'm sure Paul Taylor, my colleague, Dr. Rath colleague, will address that topic in the event today. But in my presentation, I will address the immune system as Denise asked me to do that part today, boosting your immune system for good health. And that's what you see in the presentation, my first slide. Then, especially in the actual situation, we must look for possibilities to stay healthy. And if we're infected, then it's important to inhibit that infection as soon as possible with a strong and effective immune system that can stop multiplication and spread of the pathogen. This corona crisis, which has captivated the whole world for months now, has increased attention to measures to reduce susceptibility to infection. And with all hope and attention paid to developing a vaccine, we would almost forget that we ourselves can do a great deal to reduce that susceptibility to infection. Then our immune system is our own weapon to stop and to diffuse all pathogens and intruders. In fact, it is the only truly proven way to protect us. As effective as medication and vaccines are, they are only artificial ways to help us. So in my presentation, I want to address our immune system. Do we need to boost that? How do we do that? And I'll give you at the end of my presentation a natural, science-based natural alternative for vaccination. So now I have to go to my second slide. And that is not possible. Yes, here is possible. Then our immune system is an active system, and there are negative factors and positive factors that have influence on our immune system. On the left, you see the negative factors, and I wrote a lot, so I look at my notes. So our immune system is a body's own protective mechanism that is sensitive to external and internal influences and needs to be maintained by us. And the production of specific cells and the cause of various processes can only take place optimally if we deal with our body in the right way. On the left, you see here a list of negative factors that affect our immune system. And you see that on top, I write malnutrition. That's because it's my HIPP topic I'm working with. And malnutrition, there also that belongs to alcohol, smoking, that's all part of malnutrition. Then there are a lot of other factors, more inactivity. I guess we will also talk about that today. Stress and fear, loneliness, no life perspective, sleep deprivation. That's in fact all factors where we live in at the moment. That's from the current pandemic we are suffering. A lot of people live in stress and fear. They live alone, no people around, no social contacts, not a good sleep because of all stress and sorrow of world situation. That are all factors that have a negative influence on our immune system. On the other hand, on the right side of my slide, you see the positive factors, and that's what we are addressing today: a healthy diet, physical activity, good mental health, social contacts, future perspective, a good sleep-wake rhythm. It's precisely because also of the fear and stress that our need for good food with an optimal quantity of nutrients only increases, because the factors on the left side only makes our body need more nutrients than without the stress and the fear. Staying indoors with poor nutrition, few social contacts, a lot of stress, that's not good for us. Our immune system should not be active all the time. And on the left side, you see the low-grade inflammation as a factor, a negative factor on our immune system. That is, in fact, a big problem for a lot of people. Then our immune system should get active if we need it, and not all the time. And in a situation with low-grade inflammation, the immune system is active all the time due to our environment, lifestyle, diseases, use of chemical drugs, allergic reactions. Then during our lifetime, we store all kinds of waste materials, which we should remove by our detoxification organs, liver and kidneys. And waste substances are mainly stored in our fatty tissue and can put considerable strain on our system. The most commonly known symptom is obesity, with adipose tissue being stored around the organs, and the inflammatory activity that occurs in that adipose tissue strains our metabolism. It prevents weight loss, is seen as a risk factor for various diseases. And this so-called low-grade inflammation seems to be an important negative factor for our metabolism and a cofactor for a lot of diseases and health situations, like I call it obesity, but also diabetes, rheumatic diseases, inflammatory bowel diseases, all kind of food environment allergies, but also low-grade inflammation seem to play a role in development of Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. And that could also be the reason that elderly people or people with a chronic disease, an infection can multiply and spread more easily, causing severe health problems and even death. And then if our immune system is not awake enough or not able to react fast in a proper way due to distraction or tired because of other chronic activity, the reaction comes too slow or late or not effective enough. And in the meantime, the pathogen can cause a lot of harm. So that's low-grade inflammation. That's a big problem where a lot of people have to deal with, and you cannot see it in the blood. That are very low markers. So it had nothing to do with an infection like urinary infection or so, or a bacterial infection. It's a kind of constantly active inflammation in our body, causing a constantly activity of the immune system. That's not good for us. Let us have a closer look at the immune system, made for overall protection. So it's on the right side, you see an overview of all organs involved. And on the left side, an overview of all cells that should be produced. And you see that's a cooperation of two immunity systems, one for rapid response and one for slow response. And the innate immunity response is the defense that we were given at birth. So you see the natural killer cells, you see the macrophage. I don't know if you see my cursor, but there's a lot of cells that are produced to react very quickly if there's someone attacking us, a kind of a bacteria or a virus or a yeast or whatever is attacking us. Then it's our first line of defense is the skin, the lining of the organs, also the mucus inside our lungs, and but also tears. That's the first line of defense, and the second defense is are the blood cells in the blood, the lymph, and the tissue. So what we see here, that is the second line of defense where our body is reacting. Our immune system is detecting the attacker, the pathogen, and is producing those cells to get rid of them. The adaptive immunity, that is an immune system that slowly but surely develops over the course of our lives. Upon contact with pathogens, antibodies are produced, which the immune system remembers on the next contact. It's on that principle that most older vaccines have been developed, that antibodies are produced so that if in the next contact with the pathogen, our body knows, remember and knows who he is and attacks very quickly. So the adaptive immunity is gets some help from the innate immunity to capture the intruder, to get rid of them. So that's the slow response we also see in a few days between the first contacts with pathogen and the reaction of our body. So it's important that a quickly rapid response to prevent the pathogen from spreading and multiplication. Also, you see in the middle, the T cell and the natural killer T cells, they helping each other, those two parts. It helps the innate immune system, helps activating the adaptive immune system. The innate system produce cytokines that are chemical signals, and with that chemical signals, the adaptive immunity system is helped for getting active a bit quicker. And after activation, you see the T cells in the middle of the adaptive immunity in the picture. The T cells produce more cytokines to activate the B cells. So it's a very complex situation, mechanism, but highly effective if it's optimally supported and nourished and therefore able to function optimally. You also see in the right, there are a lot of organs that play a role in the immunity system. Here are a few pictures of cells involved in the immune system, the leukocytes, the macrophages, the T cells, all types of white blood cells, together with the immune system organs, respond in a coordinated way to every type of infection. The white blood cells are formed in the bone marrow, and the production of all immune cells utilizes specific vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. The first line of defense against pathogens come from types of white blood cells known as monocytes and macrophage. You see it, the second one on from the left, that are the cells who they eat other cells. So eat invaders, destroy them. And so they have different functions in the body, but all work together a very good way, but all dependent on the good nutrition. In this vicious circle on the left, we see also that nutrition is critical. So undernutrition is leading to less immunity with a higher risk of disease. And when an infection or a disease develop, then because of less appetite and less nutrient absorption, but on the other hand, more calories needed to fight the infection and an increased energy need, then you get a relative undernutrition because of less intake of nutrients. Then the body gets less than what it needs. So the immunity goes down again with a bigger risk of disease. So it's a vicious circle showing us that malnutrition or an unhealthy diet, this doesn't have to do with nothing to eat, but an unhealthy diet leads to an increased risk of disease and reduced appetite due to illness, increased need for nutrients. But on the right side of the picture, you see immune supporting nutrients. There are a lot of them. Proteins, dietary fatty acids, and probiotics that are perhaps the biggest ones. So the macronutrients, proteins to build all kind of enzymes and all kind of the tissue to get a stable tissue. The dietary fatty acids, probiotics, well known for a good system, good immune system in our bowel. But there's a big list of micronutrients, and then a few of them you probably know. So vitamin C is very well known, selenium, zinc is well known, iron also. There are other plant components, natural compounds, quercetin out of red onions, for instance, and lysine and amino acids, and EGCG, green tea extracts. So there are a lot of substances and nutrients important for our healthy immunity. For probiotic, I made some notes. So it's called our second brain. Then our immunity is a part of our immunity is also laying in our bowel, because everything inside our digesting system is still outside our body. That's sometimes my patients sometimes are very they have a big question mark. So how do you mean outside our body? But all what's in our bowel has to be absorbed to get inside our body. And there's a line of defense, the inside of the bowel, that's with bacteria, good bacteria, and that is the reason the probiotics are part of the immune supporting nutrients, and also the prebiotics, the food where the bacteria are living from. About vitamin D, I I guess you all heard about the articles and the background about vitamin D, especially for COVID-19. That is very important that we all should take vitamin D. That is important because, and it's easily to explain, because vitamin D is, we get vitamin D out of the sun. But there has to be sun. In the Netherlands, it's not always the same as in the Caribbean. But we have to have the sun, and we have to be outside in the sun. And in the last month, there was perhaps sunlight, but because of staying inside and fear and not coming out and meet other people, a lot of people had not the contact with the sun, and therefore not enough vitamin D. So that's the reason that a recommendation for enough vitamin D at this moment is very important. The other one here. This picture shows the need of nutrients in different stages of infection. You see on the left that the start of infection, then the incubation period, so a few days before we develop fever or that we feel ill. And in that time, in that few days, the lower blood level of amino acids, of iron and zinc already, retaining of phosphorus and zinc. So, and if we develop fever, then you can measure, if you could measure it, there is a deficiency of magnesium, potassium, sodium, zinc, sulfates. And then in the recovery period, we have to restore the metabolic balance. So it's our body loses in times of illness a lot of nutrients. And therefore, it's very important that after we get ill in the recovery period, but better before, we take a lot of vitamins and other nutrients in our food. Let's see the difference between a bacteria and a virus, because the COVID-19 is a virus. It's very small. If you see how big a bacterium is in compared with a virus, then it's a totally different situation. That's also totally two different kind of pathogens. They can both make us ill. And in fact, we are living also with bacteria and viruses. So they're around us every time. So it's not that it's, oh, no, one back. So bacteria are very big in compared with the virus. They're living organism. They have their own cell machinery inside for reproduction. They are not, they don't have to have a host like a virus. A virus cannot live on its own. It's very small, but it needs a host. Then it hasn't got all what it needs to live. It needs a host cell, and therefore it uses our cells, or human cells, or animal cells. Animals can also have a virus infection, but viruses are around us all the time. And that we see in the next picture I already showed, then we are constantly exposed to viruses. It's not the first one we met. Coronavirus is in 2020 or COVID-19, but there were several years that viruses attacked us, and we dealt with it. So a common cold, an avian flu, another avian flu. And with the COVID-19, the world is facing another threat. Mobilize efforts for treatment, and while discussions center around finding an effective antiviral drug or vaccine, the world seems to forget that our body and its resources are the most effective weapon against viral flu in all its forms. Let's have a look at it. What is a virus? Here you see the flu virus and the coronavirus on the left. Tiny, made of genetic material, and you see the different protein, the color spikes that viruses need to infect the cells. They have to, like a docking station, they have to make contact with the cell and get inside and take over the software of the cell. And if viruses are not stopped, they can damage our body organs. So an infection should be the first step for activating our immune system, and if not, they can really do us harm. They hijacked our biological systems in the cell, and then they can multiply until they destroy the whole cell, and then the cell splashes open and spreads all viruses through our body, looking for other cells to infect and starting the process over again. So taking over the software and spreading and multiplying. Let's see how viruses infect our body. So the aerosols, that's a topic we hear it often in discussions. So first, it's a mild fatigue. We get in contact with the viruses over a droplet. We don't notice it. It's leading to a cough and a cold and perhaps a bit mild fatigue. But if the virus is inside, they find a host cell to infect. Cold virus, flu virus will attack our cells in the same way the COVID-19 flu is infecting us. It's most of the time over the cells in our lungs, but it can also infect us. A virus can infect us over the digestive tracts in our bowel. Because influenza viruses have the capacity to mutate and undergo changes in their surface proteins, they may change into forms of the virus that are able to infect more easily and pose increased danger to humans. And that's, if you get a cold, then it could be that you think it's a bacterial infection. And a bacterial infection you can fight with an antibiotic, but that's not the case for viruses. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the use of an antibacterial hand wash stuff in this fight against the COVID-19 virus? So it's not killing the viruses if we wash our hands with the antibacterial hand wash. Oh, that's crazy. Oh God. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So, oh my, where am I? Sorry. Here. I skip one. Yeah. What makes a virus dangerous? Then a normal cold isn't that dangerous. We can handle a normal cold. But if we look at this picture, you see that there's a small a mutation needed to change a normal influenza virus into a very dangerous virus. This example is a Spanish flu that just, you see it on the red arrow on the left, in the left corner, left down corner. There's just one mutation of only one single amino acid in the protein chain of a spike, so a surface protein, that changes the influenza type virus, a normal, not that dangerous virus, into a Spanish flu, and there were a lot of people killed. So it's very difficult to develop a vaccine for this kind of viruses. So a few weeks ago, there were also in the Netherlands, there were this flu vaccines. Every year there's a new flu vaccine, and we got a written article. So did you know that only the flu vaccine only reduces the risk of getting the flu only by 40%? 40%. So there's still a risk of 60% to get the flu, the normal winter flu that is infecting us every winter. So, and if you get the flu, then there was written, if you get it, then it could be that you have a few less symptoms than you would have had without the vaccination. So it seems an impossible challenge to develop a vaccine, because you don't know which kind of mutation it will bring next year. So that's why every year there's a new flu vaccine that people should get for a new protection, hopefully for the ones that we had, that we already know, and hopefully a bit in the direction that the mutations are not that big. Back to the picture that I already showed. So we look at the positive factors. How can we take care of our immune system? So let me start to say that healthy diet is not, it's not getting weight loss in a short time as much as you can. Because of that, we are not getting healthier at this moment. Despite the fact that obesity is a risk factor, and a lot of people are very scary about it and want to get rid of the extra kilos at once, but a balanced diet is more important than getting rid of 20 or 30 kilos in a short time. So at this moment, I'm recommending staying on the weight you have, take care of a healthy diet, and helping your immune system to get to stay healthy and not getting rid of your kilos. So if we look at immune supporting nutrients, I made a kind of translation to what kind of nutrients then very important, and I focused on the vegetables. So there is a bit of red meat for iron, but also you can also get your iron out of other basic food. But you see here vegetables, 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 and that's the big thing people have to look for more vegetables, because in the Netherlands we are recommending 200 or 250 grams of vegetables each day. But I guess only 10% of Dutch people gets that amount of vegetables daily. So you can recommend 200, 400, 500, what you read last days, but they not even reach the 50 grams, a lot of them not. Plant-derived oils, also very important, eventual fatty fish, herring, but also nuts, butter, and dairy, eggs. So you can do a lot with vegetables and plant-derived food. So it's great that vitamin D is advertised at the moment, but it's not the only one we need. And it's not a miracle nutrient. And that is where the Dr. Rath organization comes in. This is a picture of the research institute of the organization. And above in the left side, the woman you see is Dr. Nitswicki. She is leading the institute. And there they find what is the best combination of nutrients to do that what we want them to do. In this case, to improve our immune system and to fight the bacterial or viral attackers. About vitamin D, also, of course, they also test and conduct studies about vitamin D, but most of the time vitamin C is the main nutrients they address in the studies. Because vitamin C is an all-rounder, and I guess you know that vitamin C is a nutrient. We people, we do not produce any vitamin C, not one molecule. So but we need vitamin C for a stable connective tissue, for the construction of our bones, our blood vessels, our organs, our skin, but also for the production of stress hormones. We need a lot at the moment. Detoxification, we also need a lot, and also for a healthy immune system. So my light is going on. Thank you. My husband is taking care of me. And you can imagine vitamin C is robbed by the production of stress hormones like the adrenaline, and there's little left for other functions when we have a lot of stress. So how much vitamin C do we need? 70 or 100 milligrams are the official recommendations, but most of the times we need a lot of more. Suggestion is about 2,000 or 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C daily. And that could be even more in chronic situation of diseases. That could be up to 20,000 milligrams. But that are amounts that cannot taken by in oral intakes. We have to do that intravenous. But that's where the research institute comes, because they, here on the left, down on the left, the Dr. Rath as the head of the organization, they did also studies about the influence of a nutrient mixture on influenza and bird flu. I see that I take a lot of time. Micronutrients have, they work together for our immune system. So here on the left you see illustrated the virus attacking, entering our cells, taking over the software, multiplying, spread the infection, and to get their way, to make their way through our system, through our connective tissue. The cell is producing a lot of enzymes to destroy the collagen, so to get their way into the body. Micronutrients help our body to fight those viruses and other pathogens. So here you see a few of them, but you see vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C. That's an all-rounder coming back every time. They, in the research institute, they conducted some studies with micronutrient combinations so that we don't have to take an extreme amount of vitamin C. So those 20,000 milligrams are not needed. There's even a risk of an imbalance, a disbalance, if you take a lot of micronutrients in that way. So it's the combination that's important. That's very important to stay in balance in our metabolism and to make the combination with vitamin C and all the others, with zinc, with the green tea extract. And they did already some studies with flu viruses and in infected cells. So you see here in the graph that the multiplication of viruses was stopped, but only with a lot of micronutrients. The higher the concentration, the more effective was the concentration against the viruses. Those kind of publications, like this one, you see that the vitamin C for a human flu virus is doing the job, but only for 20% decrease. And here you see the nutrient synergy is doing the job a lot better with a 71 decrease. It's not saying that the nutrient synergy combination is killing all viruses and that you're not sick anymore, but it's doing a job without negative side effects. And that's very important. Decreasing multiplication of human flu viruses and also the protection of the cells, that cells normally are killed after infection by the virus. And with they made a comparison with cells, infected cells treated with Tamiflu. That's a drug, a chemical drug that is used for viral infections. And amantadine is also a drug that's often used for a kind of treatment for viral infection. But here you see that the amantadine didn't do anything, and the Tamiflu could reach 50% of cells protection, but the micronutrient combination reached 90%. That's so far better. But what I said, without negative side effects. This is the way the coronavirus attacks our cells. It has a receptor binding domain, that's a spike, and it's making contact like a docking station and the receptor on the cell surface. Also in the development or the search for a virus for this vaccine for this coronavirus, the researchers of other institutes are looking for this ACE2 receptor because they want to block it or they want to prevent cells to express this receptor. And that is exactly what they found in the institute, that the micronutrient combination could also also affect this binding and expression of this receptor. On the bottom of my slide, you see the address of the Dr Rath Research.org. That's the site, the website of the institute, where you can find also the publication, this one, but also other publication from all researchers that are working over there. If you you write it down, or you afterwards you can ask Denise, I guess. Denise can give you the address. So here are a few slides with, they did some tests with vascular cells, with lung cells. And what was very important, they noted that the results with lung cells in inflammation situation, which we have a lot in critical sick people, then the nutrient mixture even was more effective. So the middle, the picture in the middle is the same one as the one on the right. No, just the picture in the middle. The blue columns are in the right picture are the light gray columns, and the blue ones are them with the TNF alpha. That is the inflammation factor where the nutrient mixture even decreased the receptor expression even more. So that's my last slide. Then there is not only hope, but there is scientific proof that we have an alternative for not waiting for the vaccine to develop. We have an alternative, a natural science-based alternative to do ourselves something to help our immune system, and if we are in contact with the vaccine, to get rid of it very quickly, attacking it and killing it. Take advantage of this knowledge and stay in good health. Don't fear. We're on, and the scientists in the Research Institute of Dr. Rath Health are very convinced that we will win the battle. I thank you for your attention. I'm over 10 minutes over the time I got, but I don't know if it's a problem, Denise.
No, it's fine. I think we do have one question. Remember, you guys can put your questions in the Q&A section. We have one from Vera, who is a representative of the Dr. Rath Health Foundation in Uganda, I believe it is, right? He's asking, how long does it normally take for a certain virus to mutate?
Oh, that can go very quickly. I already read some articles that the coronavirus we had in March this year is already mutated, and we at this moment we have another one. So that can take weeks or months, but in fact, a year for the normal flu viruses. Then every year we need another vaccine, a newer vaccine. And yeah, so we don't know. We don't know. It's not a question of days, but it's a question of weeks or months, I guess.
Right. Okay. Are there any more questions anybody have? Terry, thank you very much for that. I know it has been very informative. We've had some comments mentioning that. So thank you very much for that. And I don't think it went too long. So yeah, just a few seconds or a few minutes over. But yes.
But if there are written questions afterwards, is also okay. We stay in contact. So
yes, of course. And that course that we're also offering the cellular medicine course as part of our membership on HIPP About Health. So we do deliver that course. That is really good. But I do have another question that popped up, and this is Natasha, which is actually one of our members. She is asking if you recommend the flu vaccine.
Yeah, that's a difficult question.
I know it's Natasha. She would have brought you a difficult
question. I never had one. Is that an answer? I never had one.
The politically correct one.
And my parents, they are both And my father is 81 and my mother turns 81 next week, and they both don't do it. So
I like that answer.
But I guess they're very healthy. They are very sportive, active, and they don't take medicine, no drugs at all. So they say we don't need that vaccine. But I can imagine that if you are in a critical health situation, that you think about it. So if it could be helpful, but if you realize that it's only 40% less risk for getting that flu, I don't know.
Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Terry. And I look forward to having you again. We do have on HIPP About Health as a member a course on immune health. So as members, you can sign up on our one of our courses that is called Boosting Your Immune System, and you'll learn a lot of that information that Terry shared, but you'd also get the little practical day-by-day, step-by-step information in there. So we cover a whole lot of more areas about the physical and the mental health aspect and in more detail. So remember, Henrietta reminded us to sign up at hippabouthealth.com. Well, thank you, Terry. And now we have it looks as though, Terry, before you go, there is one more question. If I can grab you back. There is one more question that says, since the flu vaccine is given every year, it means that the viruses are mutating. Hence, the flu vaccine is only for a short period. Hence, the immune protection is short. Then why a vaccine?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because they hope, every year they hope they have the last one that is effective for all life or so. I don't know. And in fact, but that's an inside information. I know that in the Netherlands, the doctor who is giving you the vaccination, he gets 10 euros pro vaccination.
Right.
So he is earning a lot of money in giving the vaccination. So in October, so about say 500 or so patients or 1,000 patients in the practice getting the vaccination. That's a good start for winter vacation, or I guess.
All right.
It's an inside information. No, we're making jokes of it, but
I know.
It's a good question. Why should you do it?
Terry, just before you go, there's also one more question in the chat. Unfortunately, that participant didn't put it in the Q&A, but it reads, there are 2 tests for the COVID-19 virus. Can you explain the difference?
I'm aware of the PCR test, that the PCR test is, then they test if they can find a piece of a virus that once was there. So the remains of a virus, and out of that remain one piece of it. So if they find it, they say that should be the coronavirus, because we now have the coronavirus. But that's a big question mark if that's only a proof that's the coronavirus. That could also be another virus, or a piece of a virus we already had but not anymore. Or could it be a piece of a flu virus? There are several tests. Now we get also the quick test. at the beginning in March, there was a test you should wait for 3 days, I guess, or so, before you get the results. And now the quick test, you get in an hour the results. So I'm sure they're looking for another part of a virus or so, or they looked in March, they looked for 3 different parts to be sure. But now they're just looking for 1. So that will also do. I don't know.
Thank you, Terry. Over to you, Denise. You're muted.
Denise.
Yeah, sorry. No, there are some more questions in there that are.
Yeah, but you have to go on because otherwise.
I think let's have this one last one, which talks about. This is Jacoba asking, what is the link between bacteria and virus, and how is hand washing effective for a viral protection?
I can just imagine that if hand washing with antibacterial soap, it gets rid of your bacteria, the bacteria you want to get rid of, but also the bacteria you don't want to get rid of, because that bacteria protects our skin. That's part of our first defense, our first line of defense. So it's a big question. You get rid of the viruses because of the water, I guess, but the antibacterial substance in the soap won't kill the viruses, so it just kills the bacteria. And you have to put some extra care on your hands to prevent your skin from drying and be an entrance for other bacteria. So I'm not sure if it's very effective. I use normal soap, not antibacterial soap, normal soap. That will do the job better.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. Hi, I'm Denise Paris, co-founder of HIPP About Health. And a lot of people ask us, what does HIPP About Health mean? Now, HIPP means that you're hopeful, that you're informed, that you're prayerful, and you're proactive about your health. Are you hip about your health?
I'm Joy, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi everyone, I'm Marissa Prophet, and I'm hip about my health.
I am Gail, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Tony Stewart, and I'm hip about my health.
I'm Stacy, and I'm hip about my health.
I'm Khadija, and I'm hip about my health.
I am Sandra, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Chandel Gums, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Alison Chester, and I'm hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Marcia Rose, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Dwayne Paris, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Desiree Edgel, and I'm hip about my health.
I am Natasha, and I am hip about my health.
I am Charlene Prince, and I am hip about my health.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Gunrad, and I'm hip about my health.
My name is Carly, and I'm hip about my health.